if you guys like learn a new study tip or a new way of taking notes, because personally I feel like it's helped me a lot to be able to take notes in this way. So I'll show you guys. First of all, the hardest class that I have taken by far is Anatomy 2. I am a senior currently, so I'm still working on my bachelor's, so maybe, once I get my master's, there will be harder classes. But as of now, Anatomy 2 has got to be the hardest one I've taken, and it probably also has to do with the teacher that I had, because he was very demanding, and our tests, they weren't, most of the questions weren't multiple choice, so we had to fill it in by memory, so it was pretty challenging, but surprisingly that was the class that I missed the most, because I made some really good friends in that class, and because it was so challenging, it brought us together, because we had to study so often, and just the fact that we were able to, conquer it and do well, it's just very gratifying, like, yeah, we did it. So if you are struggling in school right now, just keep trying, you will get there if you are committed. Make some friends that, are as dedicated as you are to studying. So I know this video is probably not going to be like the most interesting, because, who wants to talk about school, but if it helps one of you guys, it'll be worth it, because I personally feel like this way of taking notes has really, really helped me out. So basically, the way I've been taking notes is, if you have access to your PowerPoints beforehand, you go ahead and print them out, and the way you're gonna print them out is like this. So you're gonna print them out, and you're gonna have 3. I'm just gonna skip to a random page. You're gonna have 3 of these slides on each page, back and forth. And what's cool is that you can add notes on the side. And if you need more room, which I did for this class, instead of, using a folder or a binder and just hole punching these into it, which is what I'm doing now with my current class, because I don't need to take as many notes as I did in this one. But with this class, it was very helpful to just glue it onto the notebook paper on the side. And so when you flip it over, you have room to write on the back. And what I would do is I would rewrite the notes that I would take here on the back. So if they're a little messy or it's not in order, I would just rewrite them. Right there. And then I would also write the questions that the professor would ask. So this is the structures of the respiratory system. We had to learn like the passageways and how it travels through from your nose to your esophagus and all that. Something I recommend you guys doing is making up what are those things, like acronyms, and making up what is that word, like a little story. Basically, you make up a story, and say you have to learn like external layers, right? So you would say Elizabeth for external, so that way you remember it's E. And then nasal, so I'll give her last name, say Elizabeth, what's the last name that starts with N? Let's just say her last name is Natalie, I don't know. Elizabeth Natalie you can get the order right, so it's pretty helpful. So yeah, that is an example. Let's see. Here's another. See. And then, as you saw, the paper that I was showing you with the orange, not the oranges. Did I say oranges? Forget that. The passageway. I copied it right here, so that way I can like memorize it. Because repetition helps you memorize things, and the more you write down things, the more you practice them. So. Question. Let's see if you guys know how to answer this. How do you get oxygen into the lungs? Obviously, we're breathing. That's a simple answer, but here I wrote a series of tubes. The pull trick, O2 from the atmosphere into the alveoli. Oh yeah, that's true. You only breathe through your alveoli, right? Through the ducts. Something like that. I took this last year, so it's been a while. But yeah, let me see. Look at also another tip. Draw. Oh no. Where did it go? Oh. I basically drew what the lungs look like on the inside. So yeah, that's an example. Next, I'll show you guys this notebook. If you don't want to have to like print out so many slides, because I know a lot of teachers make their slides super long and excessive. I know one of my teachers did, and it was a lot of paper, but we didn't even go through a lot of the slides. She would just end up skipping them. So what I would recommend doing is print out the ones that have pictures that you're gonna need to remember. That way you don't have to draw them like I did if it's very in detail, So, like this, for example. If you don't have to draw those, you can print them out. So, for the ones that are, I don't want to show this one because it has, body parts. But for example, this little thing right there in the corner, if you don't want to have to draw that out and you're not, if you don't want to waste time in class, just print them. That way you can glue them in the area where you were talking about it so you can visualize it. See? Sometimes it's easier to just do that. Anyways, this was a kind of a quick video, I feel like. Hopefully you guys were able to understand what I mean, and let me know if this is a trick that you guys think you will use in the future. Yeah, like I said, so that you don't do the same mistake I did with the notebook. If you don't think that you're gonna need to write down a lot per slide, don't glue them in your notebook. Just get a binder or a folder, and hole punch them, and then just make that your notes. You have your notes next to the slide. You have the slide, and what's good about it is that you're not wasting time copying what is on the slide. You just make an arrow, and you can be like, say it's talking about the lungs. Instead of writing down lungs, you just make an arrow and then write down the definition or whatever. Lungs is probably like a dumb example because obviously you can write lungs pretty quickly, but sometimes a lot of the things you talk about have longer names and words, so it's easier to just make a little arrow and write down the definition. So yeah, you can just use your binder, and if you end up having to write down something so that you have more room on another piece of paper, so I can show you what I mean. Okay, I got my binder. This is the one I'm using currently for my class. I'm taking exercise physiology. So, for this class, instead of needing to write down as much as I needed to write down in anatomy, I just write down like a few words per like slide. So I didn't need to glue down my paper onto a notebook. Like, this is more than enough. See? And if I did, end up having to write more than I thought, let me show you what I did. See, because sometimes you do end up writing a lot, and it's, kind of small, but... Okay, let me see. See, on the back here, I have a bunch of notebook paper. So if you do end up needing to write more than you expected, you take one of these, and then you say you end up wanting to like transfer this, because it's not legible. So you want to transfer that onto another paper so you can write more in depth and bigger and clearer. Then you can always just add it back here, like on the back. So, yeah. I really hope that this video was able to like help at least someone with ideas of how